Hi, welcome back to today's story. So if you remember in Babe the Gallant Pig, so far we have met Babe, who was won at the market by the farmer, and Fly the collie, the dog that belongs to the farmer, has seen all her puppies be sold. All her puppies have now left to go and be adult sheepdogs, and she is now left with Babe. Babe's wondering why he can't learn to herd sheep like the sheepdogs. So we'll see what happens. So, chapter 4. A polite young chap. After the last puppies had left, the ducks heaved a general sigh of relief. They looked forward to a peaceful day and paid no attention when, the following morning, Fly and Babe came down to the pond and sat and watched them as they squatted and spluttered in its soupy green depths. They knew that the old dog would not bother them, and they took no notice of the strange creature at her side. "They'll come out and walk up the yard in a minute," said Fly. "Then you can have a go at fetching them back if you like." "Oh, yes, please," said Babe excitedly. The collie looked fondly around at her foster child. Sheep pig indeed, she thought. The idea of it. The mere sight of him would probably send the flock into the next county. Anyway, he'd never get them near on those short little legs. Let him play with the ducks for a day or two, and he'd forget all about it. When the ducks did come up out of the water and marched noisily past the piglet, she half expected him to chase after them, as the puppies usually did at first. But he sat very still, his ears cocked, watching her. "All right," said Fly. "Let me see how you get on. Now then, first thing is, you've got to get behind them, just like I have to do with the sheep. If the boss wants you to go round the right side of them, that's the side by the stables there, he says, 'away,' to me. If he wants me to go round to the left, that's the side by the Dutch barn, he says, 'come by.' Okay?" "Yes, Mum." "Right. Away to me, Babe," said Fly sharply. At first, not surprisingly, Babe's efforts met with little success. There was no problem with getting around the ducks, even with his curious little seesawing canter. He was much faster than they, but the business of bringing the whole flock back to Fly was not. He found at all easy. Either he pressed them too hard, and they broke up and fluttered all over the place, or he was too gentle and held back, and they waddled in twos and threes. "Come and have a rest, dear," called Fly after a while. "Leave the silly things alone. They're not worth getting yourself upset about." "I'm not upset, Mum," said Babe. "Just puzzled. I mean, I told them what I wanted them to do, but they didn't take any notice of me. Why not?" "Because you weren't born to do it," thought Fly. "You haven't got the instinct to dominate them, to make them do what you want." "It's early days yet, Babe, dear," she said. "Do you suppose," said Babe, "that if I ask them politely—" "Ask them politely? What an idea! Just imagine me doing that with the sheep. 'Please, will you go through the gateway? Would you kindly walk into that pen?' Oh no, dear, you'd never get them anywhere that way. You've got to tell 'em what to do. Doesn't matter whether it's ducks or sheep, they're stupid, and dogs are intelligent, and that's what you have to remember." "But I'm a pig." "Pigs are intelligent too," said Fly firmly. Ask them politely, she thought. Whatever next? What happened next, later that morning in fact, was that Babe met his first sheep. Farmer Hoggett and Fly had been out and around the flock, and when they returned, Fly was driving before her an old lame ewe, which they penned in the loose box where the piglet had already been shut. Then they went up the hill again. Babe made his way into the stables, curious to meet this, the first of the animals that he planned to one day work with. But he could not see into the box. He snuffled under the bottom of the door, and from inside there came a cough and a sharp stamp of a foot, and the sound of a hoarse, complaining voice. "Wolves! Wolves!" it said. They never do leave a body alone. Nag, nag, nag all day long. Go here, go there, do this, do that. What do you want now? Can't you give us a bit of peace, wolf? I'm not a wolf, said Babe under the door. Oh, I knows all that, said the sheep sourly. Call yourself a sheepdog? I know that, but you don't fool none of us. You're a wolf like the rest of them. Given half a chance, you look at us and you see lamb chops. Go away, wolf. But I'm not a sheepdog either, said Babe, and he scrambled up a stack of straw bales and looked over the bars. You see, he said. Well, I'll be dipped, said the old sheep, peering up at him. No more you ain't. What are you? Pig, said Babe. Large white. What are you? You, said the sheep. No, not me. You. What are you? I'm a ewe. Mum was right, thought Babe. They certainly are stupid. But if I'm going to learn how to be a sheep pig, I must try and understand them, and this might be a good chance. Perhaps I could make a friend with this one. My name's Babe, he said in a jolly voice. What's yours? Ma, said the sheep. That's a nice name, said Babe. What's the matter with you, Ma? Foot rot, said the sheep, holding up a foreleg. And I've got a nasty cough. She coughed. And I'm not as young as I was. You don't look very old to me, said Babe politely. A look of pleasure came over the sheep's mournful face, and she lay down in the straw. Very civil of you to say so, she said. First kind word I've had since I was a little lamb. And she belched loudly and began to chew a mouthful of cud. Though he did not know quite why, Babe said nothing to Fly of his conversation with Ma. Farmer Hoggett had treated the sheep's foot and tipped a potion down its protesting throat. And now, as darkness fell, dog and pig lay side by side, their rest only occasionally disturbed by a rustling from the box next door. Having at last set eyes on sheep, Babe's dreams were immediately filled with creatures, all lame, all coughing, all, like the ducks, scattering wildly before his attempts to go and round them up. Go here, go there, do this, do that, he squeaked furiously at them. But they took not one bit of notice, until at last the dream turned into a nightmare, and they all came hopping and hacking and marring after him with hatred gleaming in their mad yellow eyes. Mum, Mum, shouted Babe in terror. Ma, said a voice next door. It's all right, dear, it's all right. Was it a nasty dream? Yes, yes. What were you dreaming about? Sheep, Mum. I expect it was because of that stupid old thing in there, said Fly. Shut up, she barked. Noisy old fool. And to Babe she said, Now cuddle up, dear, and go to sleep. There's nothing to be frightened of. She licked his snout until it began to give out a series of regular snores. Sheep pig indeed, she thought. Why the silly boy's frightened of these things? And she put her nose on his paw and went to sleep. Okay, we'll leave it there. We are almost at the end of that chapter, but we shall continue the story tomorrow.